Awesome. We have this gentleman right here. I know it's a bit of a surprise, right? You didn't.
Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah, it is. It's the guy
Matt.
himself. It's Matt Falloon, all the way from Australia. So, what we can do is, I think he's waiting in the wings. So, can you give him a huge, warm Q Corner Convention welcome? Here he is, Matt Falloon.
Welcome to the show, Matt. In you come.
Look,
Hello.
am I here?
You are.
Am I here properly now?
Yeah, you are here and properly now. Yes.
Oh, that's good, because I was there before and then I wasn't there and now I'm back again and that was the last stream and this is the new stream.
Exactly.
on both
Yeah,
the
don't
streams.
cross the streams, right? We've all seen the video.
I'm a mid-stream presenter.
Wow. You before, after? Yeah. Which one were you on? I was on 9 and 10. YouTube.
Ah, see, yeah.
I'm on both. I got to double up.
Matt,
Hi.
you are the only presenter to be on both.
Oh,
You're
so
welcome.
exciting.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take this out of my ear because I'm tethered on a cord to my laptop because I don't do the Bluetooth. I don't have the Bluetooth, and I feel like I'm going to do that Looney Tunes dog thing where I move away and yank.
I thought it was some sort of new fashion, like new age fashion accessory.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I like
Living
the
the dream.
It's catchy on radiators. And
I'm gonna unplug, and I'm
Yes.
through the speakers. And can you hear me still?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. This is weird. I've got like one video and another video, and it's slightly delayed. But that's all right. Hi, everyone at Q Corner. It's me, Matt Falloon. Nice to see you. Hope everyone's enjoying their isolation. Am I good to start, guys?
You are. We'll hand you over. Enjoy, guys. Matt, have fun.
Okay.
Here you go.
Bye for now. Enjoy, Matt.
Hello. It's me again. Thank you for coming to my class. I'm going to teach weird and wonderful designs that I have learned through just years of experience and working at a very funny restaurant that hires me to do the balloons and doesn't actually hire, just gets one of the kitchen staff to do the face painting. And the face painting is truly horrible. And it's so good because it's given me so much inspiration to make weird, wonderful things. So first of all, I am going to show you one of those weird and wonderful things that we have made. So let's wash our hands. Very important in these times to sanitize ourselves. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear man. Happy birthday to me. Okay, ready to go. So this design was inspired by one particular piece of face painting, which was a cloud with a lovely rainbow coming out. But neither the cloud nor the rainbow were drawn particularly well. So this is just something I came up with to make for the kid who happened to have that particular design on their arm. We're going to start with a white 260, inflated about halfway. I'm actually not going to show you what we're going to make before we get there because I want it to be a surprise because, we need surprises to keep us going. And Mr. Squiggle never used to give it away until the end. And if you don't know who Mr. Squiggle is, time for you to get on YouTube. So this is a half-inflated 260, and I'm going to turn this into a 7-petal flower just with tiny little petals, working that right round until we get all 7 petals. If you are twisting along at home, there isn't a materials list, I think, listed on my class, so you can have a look at that. So we come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7-petal flower. A little trick with a 7-petal flower, if you do end up with one that's slightly wonky just like this, what you want to do is try to get the more wonky petals near the other petals. So I've got a large petal on this side, a large petal on that side. If I move those 2 petals together, you'll find that we end up with a more circular 7-petal flower. So just a little hack there. I'm going to remove the excess and deflate and tie that in. I always tie in my balloons. I don't like just wrapping around and leaving the balloon empty because, this balloon, I want it to last. I want my memory to be in that kid's life for a while. So that's our starting point. From here, I'm going to use some rainbow colors. I usually ask the kids to give me a few rainbow colors. So let's say they said red and yellow and green and blue. I want all of these about halfway. So that's our red. Oh, I have a question. From Rob.
What do you use to trim off your balloon?
Oh, thank you, Rob. Rob is giving me the opportunity to shamelessly plug my own products. I use a Matt Falloon's balloon bayonet, available at Continental Sales and balloonguy.com.au. Basically, it is the same balloon cutter that you know and love, but with a removable and replaceable blade. So you only ever have to buy one balloon cutter, and then you get like 100 blades for $6. So you get 200 uses for the price of one balloon cutter plus $6. It's very good value. Go buy them. Blue and green. There we go. And we're going to tie our colors together, nozzle to nozzle, and just link those together into what the decorators would call a quad. We have another question.
From Jackie.
From Jackie.
What inflator do you use?
What inflator do okay, if I'm just going to get silly questions from people who I know, then we're not going to get through the thing. So people who I know, I love you, but shut up. Sorry, Jackie, I love you dearly. Okay, so we've got our quad of rainbow colors, and I'm going to take my 7-petal cloud, and I'm just going to attach that in there, hiding away those nozzles, and I want to arrange this so it's red and yellow and green and blue to go with the rainbow colors, because if you've ever made a rainbow for a kid and not done the rainbow sequence properly, they will let you know, because they're funny little buggers, those kids. Okay, anyway, we'll fix that up in a second. So we've got our little cloud with our rainbow coming out, and we're just going to put that aside for a second because we have to make our big cloud, because the little cloud is just the base. This is a 350 inflated about this much, which I'd say is about halfway. I don't work in very accurate measurements, so if I do skip telling you how many fingers or how many inches to use, then just watch what I'm doing and figure it out, because as long as you get the proportions right, the individual bubble sizes don't really make too much of a crazy difference. I'm going to make 2-finger bubbles. Let's start with that and turn that into a pinch twist, and then I'm going to come across about 6 fingers, make a matching 2-finger pinch twist like that, and we'll bring that across here and lock that back into the first pinch twist. So we've got this little sort of double arrangement with pinch twists either side. And then our third bubble we're just going to take across to the other pinch twist. Now I want you to bear in mind that this design has been based on very poor face painting. So while it's not the way that you would make a cloud, you know, it might not be the way you'd elect to make a cloud, I made it this way to match the face painting that was on the kid's arm, and it really went down well. So we've got this point, we're going to make a string of bubbles out of our remainder to run across the top to give us our fluffy cloud. So it doesn't matter how many. I'm going to go about 2 fingers on each bubble and just run that across the top. And we'll get that over to there to make our little sort of cloud shape, like that. And then I can remove the excess, tie that up. I feel kind of bad because no one's asking questions now. I think I upset everyone. And then with this extra little bit of string, I'm just going to pull that across to the other pinch twist and hide that inside, which gives us our little cloud. Was there another question? You waving your hand.
Loves balloons wants to know when they come back.
Loves balloons. LA's balloons, Lost balloons. The cutters are at continentalsales.net. Balloonguy.com.au also has them. If they're not your regular suppliers, I know JJ at Balloon Guy will ship wherever. And you might just maybe get in contact with a West Coast twister who does shop from Continental and get them to add it to their order when everything reopens. So this is our little cloud. Isn't he cute? And then we're going to take our Our lovely rainbow. And we're going to come up about 2 hands lengths like this. And we're going to bend that in half and give each of these a shock distortion to make them bend out at right angles. Now, if anyone watching has trouble with shock distortions, the trick is you've got your holding hand and your shocking hand. You want to hold, shock the air out, which means just squeezing all the air out of that bend and letting it rush back in. But I don't let go with my holding hand until the air is back in, and you'll find that is how you get a really sharp curve. You see some people doing like that, and it never works. It always ends up looking bad. So we've got our 4 strings, and we're going to come just up maybe another hand's length past our bend, and we can trim off all of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, while you're twisting, never waste the opportunity of a great fart sound. Always, 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 when your balloon makes that sound, pause, look at one of the kids' parents and go, it's great. So we're here, and then very simply, we're going to take our 4 colors, and we're just going to shove that inside. Let me trim off some of these bits. We're just going to shove that inside in between 2 of the bubbles of the 350. And we're just going to friction fit that. So that's in place. Look at that. That's a cloud with a rainbow coming out of it. But, like I said, this is based on horrible face painting. And when I saw this face painting done, I immediately thought, oh, that cloud is not having a good time. That cloud is being sick, and his vomit just happens to be rainbow colored, and that's really unfortunate. So the design that I came up with was to put a little very pained expression with a couple of sweat drops on his face, and that is a cloud vomiting around. Oh, sorry, I forgot one last bit. Sorry, there was one question.
No, Marvin Hardy was saying hello.
Hello, Marvin Hardy. How are you? And I forgot one piece. With the 160, we're going to take this across the bottom of our 4 colored loops, make a twist at that length, and then loop that right the way across the top again to give our cloud a pair of lips, which more greatly sort of defines that this is coming out of his mouth, and really gives him that I'm being sick face. And there we go. So that's design number 1. These are all going to be fairly quick line work design, guys. I know that maybe some of you signed in thinking I'm going to do some of my difficult finger busting stuff. I'm not doing that now, but I do have some stuff which is scheduled to come out very soon, which will be your typical Matt Falloon ridiculously hard techniques that we should all learn anyway. So I've now just attached this onto a wristband so our little kid can have a vomiting rainbow. There he is. Isn't he lovely? Having a horrible time. And I do have another question?
No, Edward's going to use it in the centerpiece.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic. So vomiting rainbow, having a horrible time, and I just think that's funny.
Someone wants to know if you can put it on a headband.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you can put it on a headband. You can put it on a headband. You can put it on a wristband. You can put it on a moving vehicle. You can put it on a dog. Anything you like. You just put it on things and see if it works. That is the vomiting rainbow. Isn't that fun? Okay, we're going to put that over here. So while I've been in quarantine, I've been learning some extra skills because, I mean, we all love balloons, but there's only so many balloons that you can do when you're sort of locked in without going a little bit stir crazy. So I'm working on some new download stuff, which, like I said, the difficult finger busting stuff. I've got some fancy stuff coming out, a whole series of birds downloads, which will be announced soon. And that's more difficult. But one thing I've also been trying to do is, it's outside my comfort zone a little bit. I want to add ventriloquism into my show. because I do a lot of things in my show, but I don't do ventriloquism, and I'm pretty rusty, but I want to show you guys how I've been filling some of my time making Steph really annoyed at listening to me. Look, it's a koala. Hang on, I gotta think. I'm still at that point where I have to think what I'm doing. Hello, koala, how are you? Oh, I'm pretty good, Matt. How are you? Yes, very well. You're a little bit late getting here. Yes, I am, Matt. That's because I was quarantined. Oh, where did you come in from? Texas. Oh, I love Texas, but that's a strange place for a koala to be. It's because I'm a qualatex. I'm working on it. It's not great yet, but I'm working on it. Oh, hang on, I did the voice. Never mind. Okay, hi.
Where do you get slapbands from?
Where do I get slap bands from? You talk to the man, Zivvy Kivvy. You talk to him. He has the links to do the slap bands, and I'm going to move on to my next sculpture, but it's very important. Sanitize your hands. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Okay, so this one is inspired by more horrible face painting. One thing that you see, I've seen some absolutely beautiful tiger faces, you know, with the gradient and the white and the orange, and then you see some that looks like Snooky ran through a hedge bush, and it's just orange with black scarry stripes running out, and it's horrible. But it's fairly popular at my restaurant, so this is something that I make a lot at my restaurant. I'm going to make a tiger claw to match the face painting. Question?
Q Corner want to know if you can do that joke with any marsupial.
You can do the joke with any marsupial, but it does help if you find one with a backwards facing pouch. Right. We are going to start the tiger claw by making 3 tiny reverse inflated claw shapes. So that's just like a 4-finger bubble, and I've done it soft and tied it really close to the air. And I'm going to try to hold it not against my black t-shirt. So you get that sort of bean shape, that little claw shape. I'm going to do that 3 times. 1, 2. I do recommend not using your mouth at the moment. Otherwise, you'll freak people out. But hey, we're not going to catch anything over the internet. One of those. And one of these. Then what I'm going to do with each of these, once I've shaped them, make them a little bit pointy, I'm going to tie another knot about 1 centimeter down, and I'm going to remove the excess, but I'm keeping this scrap, so we end up with this, which is, let me get my head out of the way, it is a little tiger claw with 1 centimeter, half an inch, 1/3 of an inch, that much, with another knot on the other end. And I'm going to do that 3 times on all 3 of these, just making that knot and trimming it off. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then from there, I'm going to put those aside. I'm going to get my orange 321s. Now I've got 3 of these, and I'm going to inflate them, getting some of that taper in place, but I'm happy if there's a little leftover tip there, because I'm going to do a marriage twist in these, and I want that extra space for that air to flow back down towards that. So I've just cut that off. I've tied it about maybe 1.5 inches from the end, trim off the excess, I can get rid of that scrap, and then I'm going to take one of my tiger claws, and I'm just going to marriage twist that in, down about 2 fingers, like this, and using one of the black scraps that I kept from before, I'm just going to tie that in place to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. And I'm going to keep these strings, because these strings are important. So we should still have that nice tapering shape and our claw at the top. Doing that again for those people who weren't watching. There we go. And tying that off again, about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches from the nozzle, trimming that off. And then we're going to do a marriage twist down inside. Oh, and I'm going to launch it across the room. Pardon me, just 1 second. Ooh. You have no idea how messy this room is. It looks very clean and lovely here, but I've been filming the birds download and there's just junk everywhere. Trim that in, push that in, and then using my scrap again, tie that off. Again, keeping my scrap nice and long. And then the third one, same deal. I don't know what's going to happen after this. Am I going to go back to mouth inflating? I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's a handy skill to have in case your pump goes down or something like that. But yeah, we might be looking at a changed world for us. It's interesting. So we've got our third one of these, and just pushing that in, letting the air flow down to here, which will give us enough flex to go in and grab that. Whoop, fingers of steel. Tiger grip. I've got a question.
What is the difference between a marriage twist and an apple twist?
My assumption would be that an apple twist goes all the way through to the other end of the balloon and ties off like a raisin, whereas a marriage twist is kind of like a marriage between a tulip twist and an apple twist. So that one's a little bit too tight. Let me reinflate that. I'll show you what I mean in terms of the difference. So an apple twist is if I was to take a round balloon, push this all the way through and hold it so you get that apple shape with a little thing on the top, and then tie the bottom knot off on the bottom of the balloon with a scrap, I'd say that'd be more an apple twist. Whereas a marriage twist is when you... Pardon?
When you join two.
When you join two together, yes. The happiest twist of all. Although I don't know what it's like in other countries, but at the moment we're only allowed to have 5 people present at our marriage twist. It's very sad. There we go. So now we've got all 3 of these. I'm going to make a little bubble in the end of each of them and join all 3 of them together. 1, 2, 3. And then using these scraps that I've had left over, I'm going to bring them all up together like this and just use those scraps. I don't actually have to tie them in. I just want to physically sort of lash them into place. And just as long as they're sort of neatly held in, and then you want to rearrange everything so it's sort of next to each other. And then I can remove any of these little dangly leftovers. But I am going to keep my scraps because I have a cool design that I'm going to show you later which utilizes some of those very handy scraps. Never throw your scraps away. You can do cool things with them. When I say never throw your scraps away when they build up. But, you know, you've always got the bag there, so you've got another resource that you can jump into. Yeah, you don't be like Scott Tripp and have like 300 years worth of scraps in your garage. That's not cool. Okay, having said that, he did save me with my Bop-Ups class, and everyone got Scott Tripp scraps. So thank you, Scott. I don't think you're crazy at all. Here we are with this so far. So you can see already this would be a cool dragon, lion, any sort of animal with claws, talons, if you will. We're going to take an orange 260. And I'm going to inflate it about 3/4 of the way. And I'm going to attach the nozzle into the back of the tiger claw like this. Then I'm going to come up the side of the tiger claw until we reach the join of one of the marriage twists. And I'm going to make a small pinch twist at that point, like that. I'm going to go along the underside of the 3 claws. I say underside because this generally gets a natural sort of curve. You can see the middle one's a little bit higher than the other ones. So that means the side with the curve like this is the top, and the side with the inside curve is the bottom. I'm just going to take that along the bottom like this and make another twist like that. And then I'm going to bring that loop all the way over so that it neatly covers up the join and hides our mechanics. So you've just got one neat little running over there like that. I probably need a little bit more air in this, so I'm going to trim that off and reinflate. And that is just going to loop back and tie back into the pinch twist on the other side, which gives us our little handy holder, handy holder? Little hand holder handy holder. I don't know, that thing you hold it with. Now, we're almost done. We want to secure this also to the wrist. Oh, hang on. Yeah. I forgot to make it symmetrical. I can get another orange 260, and you can see we've got a 260 running up the side. We want a 260 running down the other side as well. So lock that in, and just bring that down to the other side, and twist it in, and then I will resume what I was telling you about. Okay, so at this point I want to make something that lashes onto the wrist. So you can hold on like this and have that wrapped around the wrist. The easiest way to do that is just with a loop of 260 like that. You just loop it around, twist it back into itself, and the kid's hand goes through like that and through the middle. What I like to do though is, because I have invested in slap bands, is I will now attach a slap band at that back point. That way, I'm giving away my marketing, and the kids go home not knowing that they've got it, just like tapeworm. So we've got this, it goes on here like this, and then that slap band wraps around the wrist like that, and that gives the kids their tiger claw. If you've got time, you can make 2 of these. A handy hint when I give these to children is I always, if I'm making like, there's Thanos gloves and Hulk fists and all sorts of stuff you can make. When I'm presenting this, because every balloon I make is a surprise, when I'm presenting this, I ask them to put their hand out like this, palm up, and then I put this onto their palm, add the slap band, and then get them to turn their hand over. And that reveal moment, when they turn their hand over, that's when they react and go, oh, it's a Hulk fist or a tiger claw or something like that. Oh, we have a question?
Flavia and Isabel ask, how many cups of tea do you need?
Flavia and Isabel ask, how many cups of tea do I need? First of all, it's not tea, it's hand sanitizer. And second of all, I'm being very clean. Leave me alone. And Zibby Kibby for slap bands, yes. So I'll hold that up. That is the tiger claw. Quite quick, quite simple, a little bit involved with the marriage twist, but they're easy enough once you practice. And that is how you attach that also to a wristband. No, you can't put this one on a headband. You can, but it looks stupid. All right, what else are we going to do? Let's do, very important, everyone's got their own hashtags. I need to have my own hashtags. So I've prepared this because everyone's got, very important hashtags, signs of hope, but I want mine to be educational. So it's hashtag wash your hands and stay inside and cough into your elbow because we need to flatten the curve, but don't worry because we still have balloons, okay? So Keith and Dom, if you can type that out, put that up on screen because I want that to go viral. No, I don't want it to go viral. I want it to be popular on the internet. So that was, for everyone, hashtag wash your hands and stay inside and cough into your elbow because we need to flatten the curve, but don't worry because we still have balloons. Make that trend. Oh, fantastic. That's, wrong. I thought I was, there we go. Oh, I'm a mime. Look at that. Okay, that was, get rid of it now. It's gone. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's like I swooped it away. That was amazing. Right, so let's move on. How are we doing for time? We have a question?
Yeah, can I put it on leggings?
Steph, can I put it on leggings? Can we get that hashtag on leggings, please? Steph has very long legs, and she has 2 of them. So I'm happy if you, cut it off there and have it running up the other. Oh, hang on, I have to do that properly. Look at that, special effects. Oh, I'm just messing around at this point. Okay, let's keep going. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, Mary, Mary, king of the bushes, he laugh, Kookaburra, make your life complete. Okay, so, I don't know if that's the actual words. So, we are going to do one of my all-time favorite restaurant balloons. This is for that kid when you come across a table and there's a bunch of young kids and there's the older kid, and the older kid's got a bit of sass, got a bit of snark to them. Really great for boys who sort of look like they don't want a balloon. This is going to be, I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. We're going to figure it out together. So this is the sculpture pack, if you have your stock ready, that has the white hearts in it. We're going to begin, as we so often do, with a 7-petal flower. This time I'm using a chrome blue. And I'm going to give that a squeeze. And we're going to fold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven-petal flower, and trim off the excess, and as always, give that a tie. This is one of those balloon sculptures that can go perfectly right or horribly wrong. I love it so much. Onto this, we're going to get a 5-inch round, inflate it about the size of an Australian hailstone, and we're going to twist a sidewall bubble there on the bottom, like that. And then this sidewall bubble is just going to lock into the center of our 7-petal flower, and we just grab that, we push it in between 2 petals, bring it to the bottom, and then reverse those 2 petals to lock that in place. So you should be able to see a little 5-inch bubble there. It's important when you do these sidewall bubbles to lock in like this. Don't make it too big, because you still want this to be able to sit flat on the wrist or the head. If it's big and it comes down further than the bottom of the flower, then you're going to have problems. That's a general rule with headbands in general, is try to make sure nothing's coming down lower than the flower. Otherwise, you'll have problems. Now, the way I do this in the restaurant is I actually use Pippity Pop's Panda Bear design, which I'm not going to show you because it's not mine to teach, and that's what we do. So I'm going to use a more simple head design for the teddy bear, but just so you know, this isn't the way I make it live. I usually do a more complicated head and talk to Pip about how to learn to do that. But before we do, I'm going to grab a grey 260. I'm just going to inflate it about 1/3 of the way, and then I have... Oh, I'm losing air somewhere. That's upsetting. Quick, race against time. I have a red 160, which I'm just going to give a little puff of air so it is wobbly. Same with a pink 160, joining the two together, tying them in the middle. Now, the way I twist, I like to do complicated designs while I'm working, and every little efficiency that you can do along the way means that you've got more time to do your sidewall bubbles and your raising twists and all that sort of thing. Where is that air coming from? Anyway, so when I'm doing marriage twists, the whole idea of tying these to this seems a bit like an extra step when all you need to do is grab a chunk of balloons, line the knots up and drag them down inside, and then just grab all of the knots as if they were tied together. You get literally exactly the same end result, but you skip that step of tying. So for everyone watching along, what I've done is I've marriage twisted my wobbly pink bits into a grey 260, and I've just done that about 4 or 5 fingers. And that's going to sit aside. Actually, before we'll finish this off, I'm going to get a black 160 and make the following string of bubbles. 2 small pinch twists like this. I think we're good. I just got another grey 260 delivered, but I think we're okay. 2 small pinch twists. We're going to make a 2-finger bubble. We're going to make a 4-finger bubble, make another 2-finger bubble, and another 4-finger bubble, and we join those together into a little diamond shape, and we can remove the excess now and tie this off like this. Now, I'm going to show you something cool with this later. We're going to attach that to the tied end of the grey 260. We'll lock that in place. making sure that's not going to go anywhere. And trim off the excess. So we've got this. Cool, right? You know what it is. I know what it is. It's going to be cool. Trust me. Okay. We've got a 6-inch white heart that I've inflated all the way. So it's nice and big. And then I'm going to shrink it down so it's just past round. Tie that high on the neck like this. And I'm going to twist one of the lobes into a sidewall bubble. Now this is really important. I'm going to twist the sidewall bubble in half. And then I'm going to make sure that each half of this sidewall bubble gets its own set of twists. If you twist each half together, they won't stay in place. Whereas if you twist each half separately, that will lock into place. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Sidewall bubble, twist, and twist. And that makes just a really simple little teddy bear head. It's not as effective because it's got sort of double bubbles for the ears, but that doesn't really matter. It's an effective little teddy bear head. And most kids at this point will realize that I'm making a cute, itty-bitty, adorable teddy bear, which is great, except for the kid, that snarky 13-year-old who I'm actually making this for. They're thinking to themselves, I'm a 13-year-old boy. I don't want a cute little teddy bear. But tough luck. They're getting what I give them. We have got a half a 260 in white, and this is just going to wrap around the head and neck join. If I didn't explain what I was doing, I tied the head onto the body. I may have not explained that step out loud. I just did it. And then tying that nice and tight and trimming it off so all you can see is a tiny little knot. It doesn't really get in the way. So we've got this so far. Now at this point, I'm going to get the grey end of this and push it up through the arm loop. And I'm going to start doing my artwork. I'm going to walk you through the artwork or the Sharpie work that I'm going to do, but I want to do it first. So I say to the kids, this is a very happy polar bears, because polar bears aren't very happy in general because they live on ice, which is very sad because ice melts and the current climate problem means that they're losing their houses. So, you know, you've got a polar bear who's perfectly happy on his little ice shelf, and then his ice shelf melts and he's in the water swimming and he's very, very sad. But then he finds another iceberg and he's happy again because he found another iceberg. And so he's on there for a little while, but then that iceberg melts, and so he's very, very sad. So they're constantly going through this process of being very happy, and then very sad, and then very happy, and then very sad, because they're bipolar bears. What? What's the black bit? Oh, I'm not finished yet. Anyway, this is going to be a very happy polar bear. I don't want to depress anyone. This isn't what balloons are about. We want this to be a very, very happy polar bear. And you can tell why he's so happy. I'll tell you why he's so happy, because he has got his favorite snack. And this is an educational balloon as well as a fun balloon. His favorite snack is seal. And so you can see we've got a bit of the seal here, and we've got a bit of the seal on his face, and most of the seal's down here in his belly. But that is the polar bear eating a seal. And usually at this point, you'll get a laugh from the 13-year-old. You can look at the parents and say, what? It's educational. Watch Attenborough. This is what happens. This is what it is. And we've got our polar bear chowing down on half a seal with blood spurting out and the tail. Now, the reason I kept the tail as a diamond and twisted it together in the last moment is because I try to see every balloon as a routine, and I don't want to give away the punchline until the end. So as I'm coming up with designs, or as I'm twisting designs that I've seen or know, I'll look at how the pieces go together and sequence them in such a way that the whole thing is a little show. And that way, when I get to a gig and I know I've got 15 kids at a birthday party, I have 15 mini routines to put together into a bigger show. And I know the kids are going to get the balloons that I have a routine for because I don't ask the kids what they want. I don't give them requests. I simply say, no. My rules are everyone gets a surprise, but I have a special offer. If you don't like the balloon that gets made for you, you can bring it back to me next year at Timmy's birthday, and I will swap it for a balloon that I don't like. And I think that's fair. No, we weren't picking on bipolar people. No, it's... Oh, I'm sorry if you're offended by that. It's more of a play on words than an attack. It's it's wordplay. So there we go. We have our happy little bear, and there he is. He's very, very cute. I'm going to put that aside. Twist. Okay. So this is a fun little take on something that has been done before. This is has changed. Washing hands and stay inside and coughing your elbow because we need to flatten the curve, but don't worry because we still have balloons. Which I will be launching as hashtag washing hands and stay inside and coughing your elbow because we will need to flatten the curves, but don't worry because we still have balloons.org, which will launch later in the month, and that's going to be an educational resource for cleanliness and, you know, brushing your teeth and washing your hair and all that sort of fun stuff. If you have got your little balloon pack, which has the dark blues and the yellows, we are going to use that, and the chrome silvers, we're going to use that to do, I really love, there's been a whole bunch of balloon designs that have turned balloons into toys. So you've seen the bop-ups, which is my stuff. Buster's got his poppers, which are the little bouncy games. You've got all the spinning balloons going around at the moment. You've got the helicopter designs, just anything that has that level of interactivity. So it's not just an object, it's a toy, it's a game, it's something that does something. And there's one little toy that I've been fascinated with forever, ever since I got them. I actually learned how to make them as a kid, which we'll get to how to make one out of balloons, but let's step through this one. I'm going to use the chrome silver, inflate it all the way, burp it off, but don't do that on anyone at the moment because that's a problem. And we're going to space this out and create our clappy, noisy little duo. So we've got this, pop that aside, and with our dark blue 260, I'm going to inflate it almost all the way and give it a good stretch. And we're just going to make a small bubble, a loop big enough to fit your hand through, or your fingers, 4 fingers through. I have a question.
Do you ever get the WTF
No,
question?
we're lucky because we live in Australia, and Australia's a funny place because it's sort of laid back, but then it's also very, we're structured in a way, we've got a lot of the British in us, so we still have that sort of etiquette and politeness thing going on, but then we're also very laid back. So if you ask any of the twisters who've worked with me in my restaurant, Christopher Lyle, Andrea Knoll, Crystal Grace, Dave Brennan, they've all been in Australia at one point and worked in my restaurant. And the stuff that I'm able to get away with, not just me, but Australians in general, we don't have the same formality. Like, it took me years of visiting the US to realize that when the server was calling me sir, he wasn't being snarky. That took me a long time because, sir, your table's ready. I'm like, all right, you don't have to, it's cool, bro. Just let me sit down. Jeez, chill. So yeah, I don't often get, upset parents. You don't push it too far. Plus as well, I work in Western Sydney, which is sort of the lower socioeconomic area. I work there because I live there and I'm a full-time entertainer and I can't afford to live somewhere nice. But the people there are also great because they don't have that air of, you know, entitlement about them that your upper class suburbs do. I really love doing birthday parties in lower socioeconomic areas than I do higher socioeconomic areas because they almost can't afford me. So when I arrive, it's special and it's a big deal. And that's why I love doing the restaurant where I'm at because it's special and it's a big deal and it's something that the parents wouldn't necessarily have the money to give their kids at the best of times. So That was a fun little tangent. But no, I never get WTF from the parents. I usually get a laugh, them sort of coughing into their drink or something like that. And it's usually fine. Have we got time for a story? I'm going to tell a story about my... Oh, hang on, another question?
Q-Corner said, Matt, are we ready?
Oh, are we ready? Oh, you want me to move on, do you? Really? You're hurrying me along? Okay. All right. So, oh, look at that! We've got the hashtag on leggings. That's amazing. Everyone, buy those. They're for a good cause, and everyone will stare at your legs up and down, up and down, up and down. It's disgusting, really. Take those off the side. I'm going to get in trouble for those. Can we have black leggings with pink text, please? Steph is asking for a friend. So, I've made my silver piece just a touch longer than my blue piece, and I've just put one of those loops at both ends. Back on track, back on track. And I'm going to push two ends of the silver through that loop, and we're going to come right on back and push the other two ends, and you want this to sit fairly flat. So you can see at the moment it's got a bit of a bow in it. We're going to adjust and rearrange and adjust and rearrange until it fits fairly flat. And we're also going to just make sure that there's not too much of a separation between these two silver pieces. So we've got this. Now, I did tell you before, keep hold of your scraps. I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to grab a handful of scraps off the floor. Pardon me for a second. Okie dokie. So, I say to the kids, I say, do you know what recycling is? And they say, yes. And you say, recycling is when you get garbage that you don't want anymore and you give it to someone else. It's great. It's a great system. And do you know what this is? I've got this out of my little trash bag. Do you know what this is? This is garbage that I don't want anymore. I'm going to do something special with it. I'm going to put it inside your balloon because that's how much I like you, kid. We're going to take a yellow 260 and I'm going to inflate it only about a third. And I'm going to tie that off, trim it, and then I'm going to get a little bit closer to the camera as I do this. I'm going to take this little bundle of scraps that I've got, and I'm going to push that down inside the balloon like that. And I'm just holding it there about a centimeter inside the balloon, so I can grab it with my outer hand and hold on to that little ball of rubber and get my finger out. Now, I'm going to squish all of the air out around that ball. And what happens is the latex is compressing onto that ball in all sides, so it's turning it into a round shape. So you can see now I've twisted that off with no air in between the layers. I'm going to do that again. Now, a lot of people have trouble with this. That just goes straight inside. And I'll show you a little trick that I found really helpful. Before I take my finger out, before I grab it with my grabbing hand, I give the 260 like half a twist. And then I grab the little ball of rubber and I pull that out. And what that does, I don't know if you can see that, but it seals the balloon off. So you can see now that when I let the air out, you can't see the previous layer, and it's just got that little, looks like a cat's bum hole. It's just a little puckered in connection point before you twist it off. Then you push it in again, and you twist your finger, and then you pull that out, and you twist it off again. So each time I'm adding a layer of rubber. Now, you've probably done this before if you've been making super balls before. The difference in this design is I've added the scraps inside to add that extra little bit of weight.
How many times has it flown out?
So this uses a similar technique as the bop-ups. So you grab a handful of scraps and you end up putting the scraps inside the balloon to act as the weight. There is a danger point, though, when you're holding the balloon and you haven't tied a bunch of layers. And if you do let go, it shoots out, and it's like New Year's Eve, and there's straps everywhere. It's happened to me once when it wasn't on purpose. So I try to do it in the class when I teach pop-ups, just to show everyone what it looks like. But it has happened to me once at the restaurant, and luckily they were finished their meals, but they did end up with scraps all over their table, and I bought them a round of drinks to apologize. They thought it was funny, but I thought it was the right thing to do. So yeah, be very careful when you grab with your grabbing hand that you're grabbing nice and tight. And that's going to push in like that, and we're going to twist that off. And I'm doing a bunch of layers. It doesn't really matter how many layers, but when you get to a point where you think there's enough layers on there, maybe 5 or 6, I'm going to put my finger in deeper than I did before, hold on with my grabbing hand, and then I'm going to hook my finger back and just pull. So what I did inside is I hooked my finger back like this, and I just pulled. And it's exactly the same motion as when you snap the balloon, but we're snapping the balloon on the inside. So now I've dropped that ball, is now loose inside that balloon, and I can push that all the way down, and I really try to push a lot of air down into here, make this nice and tight, and twist this off so it is a capsule shape. You see the capsule, and it has a little ball that rolls around on the inside. Now this is the coolest little toy. This will have people like jaws dropping. So at this point, I say, ta-da! Don't be disappointed, I'm not finished. And I'm drawing the face on. I'll show you what I'm drawing in just a second. Now, a quick note with using edding markers and Sharpies is a lot of people try to separate their eddings and Sharpies, which is a good idea, and try not to draw too much on top of your Sharpie with the edding or vice versa. A really great little trick is if you know that, like for example, with the polar bear, where's our polar bear? If you know you're going to leave white and put white spots on the eyes, just don't color those bits in. Like draw it out and then color in all the other space. That way you don't have to come back with your edding and put the white spots on. If you're doing a white balloon that has drawn eyes, you can just leave those spaces blank and you won't gunk up your edding and you won't smudge your Sharpie. And it's just with a little bit of forethought, you can get the eyes looking the way you want without actually having to change pens so much. And I'm doing the same thing here. I've drawn a white circle and a black trim around that. I actually usually use my silver eddings to do the trim. I'm just going to do 2 little tabs flying off this way. I don't bother going all the way around. Most of you have probably guessed what this is by now. I have a feeling that minions will be a bit like Scooby-Doo. They will never die as much as we want them to. I'm going to grab a different color. I'm going to grab my blue, which actually doesn't work all that well. And I'm going to draw and a cute little mouth. Here we go. And I'll just colour in his little tongue red, and I'll show you what I've drawn. So at this point, the kids have guessed that it's a minion. There's one kid who goes, it's a minion, it's a minion. And you go, that's right, have you seen those movies, those minion movies? And they go, yeah, I've seen the minion movies. And you go, yeah, because the minions all do crazy things in those movies, right? There's, oh, hang on, I've got a question.
What is Scooby-Doo?
What is Scooby-Doo? Who's asking? Is it Mr. Bomer doesn't know what Scooby-Doo is. I find that very hard to believe.
Google.
Scooby-Doo was drawn on caves by Neanderthals. That's how long Scooby-Doo's been around. The whole idea of Scooby jumping into Shaggy's arm because there's a saber-toothed tiger, but then the saber-toothed tiger's head off and it's just the janitor or the caretaker or something. It's the thing. Yeah, check it out. It's great. Oh, really? Okay. Oh. Okay, all right. So we've got our little minion with his little butt cheeks, because this minion is doing something crazy. This minion has taken his overalls off, and he likes to get all nude and do backflips in the sun. And that's when we put him on top of our carriage that we built, and then with a very slight tilt, he'll do his backflips. And so, I mean, this is an old design. It's a really old toy, but this is like the new spin on it. So I call this the naked backflipping minion. And the kid will play with this all night at the restaurant, and they won't know how it works. And the adults will be looking at it, trying to figure out how it works. And so it's all very crazy. So that is the naked backflipping minion. I'm going to show you a variation on this, and we're just going to put that aside. I'm going to keep the minion so I don't have to make it again. Okay. Ah! No! Get back! It's okay, everyone. I got it. Get back! Oh no, I touched it with my hands. Get! I'm almost done. That was terrifying. Who left the window? Steph, did you leave the window open? We got a little thing in here. That's okay. So we got this little guy, and we're going to make basically exactly the same carriage system, but a little bit of a difference, and I'm going to try to get this done in the time I have left. I'm going to use Diamond Clear 260. inflate them all the way, and I'm going to use 2 of those. And tie those together, and then swoop over to the back here as well, and tie those to the other side. Now this is going to be the carriage for our minion, but obviously it's not going to link because there's that great big gap in between, so he's just going to fall out. So I'm going to use more diamond clear 260s, and I'm going to squish all the air out to make them into a ribbon and tie that up. And then I'm going to use these at 3 different points along the balloon to wrap around. Now it's important that you wrap these around in a figure 8 shape. So they go around one balloon, through the middle, and around the other balloon and lock in again on the other side. And you want to keep them flat like a ribbon. That way what we're doing is we're joining this clear balloon together with a very flat track that the flipper is going to flip right along. So going again, same thing. I'm being hurried along, but I want to finish. Don't worry, guys. I won't get in the way of the next person. Who's the next person? I don't know. Who's on next? Who's on first? Same again. And same again down the bottom. Garlus Olivia. I'm sorry, Garlus. I will not take in any of your time. I think we still have a few minutes. Is that right, fellas? I can finish that. Okay. Okay. So I've lashed that together at 3 points. That way my little flipper will go along the whole length of this. Let me see if I can do it. And he'll flip all the way through camera and all the way off again, if it's perfectly lined up and flat like this. So from here, we're going to use blue and pink in this situation, but I do ask the kids to choose their own colors. Because gender norms aren't necessarily what we think they are. But we're going to assume that the little girl wants a blue end and the little boy wants a pink end. And we're just going to make a simple little hat, which is just a loop with 2 pinch twists like that, looping that around, size of the kid's head, give it a little bit of a shock at the back, and that's usually enough to hold on to the kid's head. And then we're going to put this end into, I'm actually going to twist off a pair of bubbles first and push that into the blue end. And then you make the same hat in the opposing color on the other hand. And you get the kids to put on, I'm going to get Steph to put that on her head. You can't tell, but it's on her head. She's behind the camera. Now we made the hat in clear because the people playing the game need to know what they can see. So hang on, and this is like a cooperation game where you've got to get the minion. Did you see it? Did you see it flip past? You probably can't see it flip past. Basically, you've got a kid's head on this side, a kid's head on this side, and your minion is going to flip right past, and it's up to the kids to coordinate their movements to make sure that the minion doesn't fall off. So I call that the coordination backwards and back flipping naked minions hat. I don't know, I'm not good at names.
The get along.
The get along hat. This is the get along hat. Cause 2 kids to put aside their sibling differences for a moment and play around with a silly big hat.
And for social distancing.
And for social distancing, you can make this like 4 times as long. No, you can't, because then you have joints and balloons. But yeah, give it a try. Who knows? Thank you very much. I think are we done? Are we done? Hashtag wash your hands and all of that. Thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the Q Corner.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Loving your work, loving the hat.
Good fun as always. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
We're just going to move to the side because of social distancing.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, okay. All right, take care and bye, Steph. Thank you very much.
Thank you.